And for the last presentation, we will go back to Europe. I'd like to welcome Ilik from the Czech Railways. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you, Bart. Good afternoon. Here's this machine. Second day of the conference, lunchtime. It's not only challenging for you, but I guess also for you in the audience. I'm going to talk about, it's already there, about maybe very clear moments and situations we actually live in everyday life. But if you don't say them loudly, it's not so easy to understand what is everything behind. And why I'm actually decided to choose this, this topic, rather, let's say, conceptual, philosophical one. The reason is that there are a lot of challenges now coming. Well, how that works? No. That's it. There are quite a lot of initiatives, policies now running, not only in Europe, but let's say around the world. And they are more or less very, very ambitious. There are very, very strong expressions what we everything have to achieve. What are our goals? Sometimes they are really very bright. They are only, let's say, specified as an idea. And there's a high expectations behind. And we should somehow express or explain what everything is behind, what can we do, how can we contribute. And this is well needed because as a railway family, we all somehow work together, but every stakeholder has its own role. That means that there might be the different ways how we can achieve these goals. And on the right side, I try to very simply summarize what everything that if you are an operator who only wants to start a new service, you might contribute in a different way than you are the incumbent having already the big network, but altogether it somehow can contribute to reaching these goals you have seen just a while ago. Of course, it also depends whether they are operating the freight trains or the passenger trains, but this altogether could work. And I will tell you what we as incumbents are doing, despite the fact that we are many times asked from the Commission and from many political stakeholders why we are not more productive, why we are not bringing more. I don't believe that we are already in a good phase that we deliver something, at least in the Czech Republic, let's say in the culturally defined region of Central Europe. These are the connections we already operate right now. In this timetable, the connectivity, international connectivity is quite well, because international connectivity is something that is now really top priority for the whole Europe. So we operate, as you can see, more than 420 trains, international trains daily, of which almost 170 are in long distance. That, in other words, means that we deliver every second hour in connecting Prague, let's say the Czech Republic, and the cities located in the Czech Republic, to other important, economically or culturally important regions in Europe. I guess this is quite a good example of what we are already doing, but it's somehow considered as a standard. But from this standard, to do more is not so easy as to start from nothing when you only have one idea and you want to implement a new train. And of course, this framework, this network, somehow influence what we can do, and this is something what I would like to explain to you, what is our way to bring a better, let's say, future for Europe or for the whole world. As you can see, there are, let's say, 4 ways when we have been thinking about what is possible, how can we contribute to these goals. So the first one is an extension of the current network you have just seen. The second one is that, of course, if you have a network, you can always add some trains, and there are, let's say, more or less 2 ways how you can do that. You can increase the frequency, if there is a demand, of course. And the second option, which more or less perfectly worked for night trains, you simply add something, some brand new connections connecting brand new cities or regions. But this is the way how it's about the single trains, not about the network as a whole, because there's a different, let's say, approach and business model beyond. And there's a fourth factor, actually, which DB and EBB, our, let's say, cooperating partners, or the big companies, are already doing, but it's not well understood, or have been not well understood so far. They invest into the new rolling stock, which is more reliable, and what is more important, they offer higher seat capacity. Because higher seat capacity means that you can carry more passengers on the same train. That means that you don't need an additional train pass, which might be needed also for, let's say, commuter trains or for freight trains, because in the case that you don't have a dedicated passenger, I mean high-speed infrastructure, what is more or less the case of most of the Central European countries, except Germany and partly Austria. So this is something what you have to think not only about your business, but about the delivery of the whole sector. So from our perspective, the investment into the new rolling stock, which could offer higher seat capacities, is one of the ways how we could contribute to these goals the Europe or the politicians have defined. And this is a different way how to explain what are we doing in our business, and maybe also the explanation why our business is considered not really very active. This is the timetable. It's a graphically shown timetable. You can see this time. It means we'll start at 2 in the morning, going up to the midnight of the same day. This is the line, the example. This is only the theoretical case. Line Prague-Hamburg, because this is quite a nice example. There should be one more slide, actually. Maybe when getting back to socialism or early 90s, when the railway image was very, very poor in Eastern Europe, so definitely this raster was not there. It was only few trains linking Prague and Berlin. Then during as a part of national policy in Germany and in the Czech Republic, or let's say in the cultural Central Europe, including Switzerland and Northern Italy, this Taktfahrplan clock phase timetable has been step by step introduced, and this is the situation more or less we have had like 10 years ago, that you have regular offer every 2 hours from Prague linking Berlin and back. What we also, because we have seen, because our business model is based on the cooperation with, in this case, with DB, we decided, because there was a potential, to go beyond Berlin, to ease the travel for passengers who want to go beyond Berlin, because if there is a direct connection, it's simply more comfortable for the passengers. And of course you can say, yeah, why not to do a next further? Yes, this is our plan for 2026. Timetable 26, it means from December 25, we should provide brand new connections, direct connections from Prague to Copenhagen, to Denmark. It looks very simple here on this chart. But there is a very important story beyond that. The thing is that if you enter the new country, of course there is a will to cooperate, to have it, because we see there is a potential. For that reason, the discussion with the cooperating partners is very important. But we are not allowed to do that with the current rolling stock. So we decided to buy a new rolling stock, which will be which could be put on operation to Denmark. This rolling stock would offer higher capacity than the current one. And what is also important is the delivery time from the industry side. Because we are asked, do something now, but we place the order back in 2021, and we will get the fully authorized train for the operation to Denmark in the push-pull regime only in 2027. So it's an extremely long time about, let's say there's a somehow internal tension between the dreams and the effort and the ambitions we have and the ability of the industry to deliver the solutions for such a for such a for fulfilling these ideas. Next step, what we are also doing, you can not only go northwards, you can also connect the cities to the south. And this is the real connection we right now have from Hamburg to Budapest, where all the national railway companies are cooperating. And we see that this might be our contribution of how to fulfill these goals, because in the case of Copenhagen, for example, we know there's a big plans of Denmark to have a big railway node from Denmark. So that means that even the train coming from the north, from Scandinavia, will terminate at Copenhagen main station. That would mean that with introduction of these trains, you will reach Scandinavia maybe in a very long time, travel time, but only with one change in Copenhagen. And we are really convinced that that could attract some of the passengers in combination with the day trains and night trains, for example. So this is our way, how we are trying to contribute to the goals which Europe has defined. Another idea, we have been many times asked, for example, why are we not going to implement a train, for example, to Amsterdam? Because you then, without the change, could reach easily Hanover, maybe Dortmund, Amsterdam, it depends. Why not? The story shown here is very simple, because you will see if there is a demand for this train, we could somehow harm or reduce the efficiency of these two parallel services. So if I had a demand only for Amsterdam, or let's say only for Dortmund, I can play the game with this train going to Berlin parallel to the current services, and then go further to the westward. But if there is no demand, sufficient demand, okay, for me, it's much easier to let here these two trains and to offer, let's say, the connection, which is already the current actually situation, that you come to Berlin from Prague and then you can change the service and you have the connection to Amsterdam. So that means that from every these train, you have a connection to Amsterdam. And this is always the question of the size of the market. We are not definitely, and right now, not willing to introduce such a train. But of course, if there is, for example, some private company who wants to do that, we are not against that, because it's somehow the contribution to the whole network. And actually, there's one company who is willing to do that, and it's European Sleeper. And to my understanding, their decision to design their train not during the day, but during the night, somewhere here, is quite clever, because it's quite a long travel time. You can, if you take the night train, you can save some time, and you then have an alternative. If you want to take a day train there and the night train back, it somehow works together. I hope I was clear enough in this, let's say, more or less technical approach of this presentation, but somehow to sum up it. What is important for us as for incumbents? We already have some heritage of some network. That means this traditional model of cooperation between RUs is something what we still believe it has its own future. It could be further, as I have shown, could be developed. This is quite important, because we have heard many times, this is something what is obsolete, what doesn't work anymore. But we don't see it in this way. We really see that the network has been given, but there is still quite a lot of space for us, if you are creative, to find do new business models and address new passengers. Actually, in this point that further development is possible, I wanted to mention that I can imagine that you are most probably aware of the German project Deutschlandtakt. And our role as incumbents is that if you see the timetable, you see the behavior of the customers, the ministries who are actually responsible for the network, for designing the network. They don't see the passengers, the traffic flows. And if you merge these two knowledges, let's say the policy, what they want to reach, And if you see how the travelers, the passengers react, you could then bring quite easily these new destinations like Copenhagen. Because without the initiative for IUs, this project would never happen. But so far, it looked quite that we can contribute to these goals, but there are some limits, rather important, I would say, quite important. Track works. This is something, the sensitivity of the works, of the timetable, of this clock face timetable on the works on the line is extremely high, and we really have to think carefully what we are going to implement and what not, because if you implement some new project, some extension, and there will be track works planning for, I don't know, 2 years, and you will be not reliable, it doesn't make a sense to introduce such a service. And the very final comment from my side is to keep the schedule. Especially private companies, they somehow consider this clock face timetable of TACT as something what is concrete and gives us a big advantage. Maybe somehow. The thing is that we have been developing it with our ministries, with all the ministries, let's say, for 2, 3, 4 decades. So it's something what is not only our product, but let's say the state product. And if we split this network, this basic network, I really believe, and we will then implement, let's say, aviation system, the railway will never be able to fulfill these goals mentioned on the first slide. And I guess I can end up my presentation here. Thank you for your attention, and maybe I'm ready for the questions if there are any.
Thank you, Jan. Exciting new connection, Prague, Copenhagen.